Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is the Spawn #1 cover by Todd McFarlane. Let's take a look at a video.
This adage does not mean what you think it means.
So 4 quick things before we get into the meat of this video. First, I can appreciate and support this creator's rhetorical goals here, but there is misinformation in this video that I'm going to be addressing. Second thing, the data have repeatedly and consistently demonstrated that hitting children has deleterious effects, both in the short and the long term, physical and mental. So it's wrong, don't do it. Third thing, this adage is actually not in the Bible. This adage comes from a poem called Hudibras, written in the 17th century by Samuel Butler. It is close to a passage in Proverbs, which actually says, "The one withholding his rod hates his son, but the one who loves him seeks out discipline." We're used to hearing it in this form because it became more popular and more widespread based on that poem, but this is not what the proverb actually says. And the fourth thing is, all right, let's see it.
Spare the rod, spoil the child is justification that evangelicals use to hit their children on the bottom. This is the one verse that is used. So there's the issue of folks wanting to cherry pick and hunt for scripture to justify hitting children. But there's also the issue of what happens when we lose the cultural context and we no longer understand the symbolism in a text. At the time this was written, language around shepherding sheep was very common in the culture, and it would have been widely understood that a shepherd doesn't beat the shit out of their sheep with the rod. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Do you know why the psalmist found the rod and the staff comforting? Because the shepherd used them as tools of guidance and tools to defend the sheep from wolves and other predators. They were a comfort because they were a symbol of protection and security, that God was looking out for the psalmist just as the shepherd looks out for the sheep.
So this is becoming a more common attempt to try to rehabilitate this passage. However, it is inaccurate. The Hebrew noun in question here is shevet, which can mean a rod, a staff, a stick. It can be used quite generically or in specific context to refer to a specific type of stick. For instance, it can be used to refer to a scepter that a king might hold as a symbol of their authority. It can be used to refer to a stick that someone uses to thresh wheat. It can be used to refer to a shepherd's staff. It can be used to refer to a rod of discipline that might be used by a slave master or a parent or even God to corporally discipline someone. The term occurs 8 times across the book of Proverbs, and every single time it refers to a rod of discipline. Here are those 8 occurrences. I'm going to go through the ones besides Proverbs 13:24 so you get a sense of how this word is being used. Proverbs 10:13, "On the lips of one who has understanding wisdom is found, but a shevet is for the back of one who lacks sense." Then we have our passage, Proverbs 22:8, "Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the shevet of anger will fail." The idea being the one sowing injustice uses a shevet of anger, and it will fail for them when they reap calamity. Proverbs 22:15, "Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the shevet of discipline drives it far away." Proverbs 23:13 and 14, "Do not withhold discipline from your children. If you beat them with a shevet, they will not die. If you beat them with the shevet, you will save their lives from Sheol." Proverbs 26:3, "A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a shevet for the back of fools." And finally, Proverbs 29:15, "The shevet and reproof give wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by a neglected child." I can understand the impulse to want to rehabilitate this because people take these texts as authoritative and as good counsel for parenting and things like that. This is not good counsel. It's bad, it's abusive, it's harmful, it's wrong. Don't appeal to these passages to excuse beating children. However, I don't think it's helpful to just gloss over what these texts were trying to say and insist that they actually meant something else. That might be helpful in the short term, but people who trust that reading are usually going to find out at one point or another that it's wrong. I think we are much better to just acknowledge that this is an outdated and a harmful ethos, reject it, and move past it.